Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and for folks watching at home as well. Hello. My name is Becca Rutenberg. I'm here from Vicente Cedarburg representing Mayflower Medicinals, who is seeking to kind of expand the operations within the existing facility at 89 October Hill Road for their existing medical marijuana cultivation and processing facility. And if you think October Hill, Mayflower Medicinals, that sounds familiar, it is because Mayflower is actually already an operating marijuana cultivation and processing facility in Holliston. They've been operating since 2017 and have really enjoyed becoming a part of the Holliston community. They are a Massachusetts-based organization, and they believe in giving back to the community by creating jobs, generating tax revenue, and participating actively in community priorities. And we do have a bit of a smaller crowd here today, so if you have questions throughout the presentation, if I'm not clear, feel free to throw a hand up or just kind of chime out, and we'll certainly answer them as they come. And I should note, again, we are operating a cultivation and processing facility in Holliston, which is already operating, and we operate a registered marijuana dispensary in Boston. So just to call out a few folks from the team that are here today. So we have John Henderson, who's the Chief Executive Officer of Mayflower, Andy Plant, who's the Director of Security, and also Caleb Johnson, who's the Director of Operations. And I think, just given the context, I'd like to point out these are all local residents within the community, within Massachusetts, longtime ties, who care deeply about Holliston, who care deeply about operating a business that is fully compliant, and are also experts in their respective fields. And a little bit, and John, I can certainly turn part of this to you, as I know this is a little bit of your specialty. Mayflower is a part of Ianthus Capital Management, which is a first-in-class operator of cannabis companies with active operations and strategic partnerships across the nation: Florida, New York, Vermont, Colorado, New Mexico, and Massachusetts. What that offers is financial strength and also this institutional expertise. So we have local knowledge, local residents, but we can draw on a background from across the nation. So this facility looks probably very familiar. So since 2017, Mayflower has been operating a medical marijuana cultivation and product manufacturing facility at this site. And we are seeking to engage in the exact same type of operations for adult use marijuana within our existing commercial space. So it isn't going to alter any operations currently occurring within the facility. The only thing that changes is the tag on the plant. We've operated without complaints, without incidents since 2017. Security. So Andy is the security expert, so feel free to chime in, Andy, if anything I'm saying doesn't entirely make sense. The first thing I think that is important to note, absolutely no members of the public can ever gain access into this facility without invitation. It's very important that we only have staff and only have those who are invited. So for instance, Department of Public Health officials, Cannabis Control Commission officials, local representatives from the community who can gain access within the facility. We've contacted with a professional security company that helps design, implement, and evaluate security systems to make sure that our facility is top-notch secure at all times. So there are a variety of security systems in place, and to go into them briefly without kind of belaboring the point, they include intrusion detection sensors on all exit and entry points, including windows, duress, panic, holdup alarms that are monitored by a primary and a backup alarm company. They include interior and exterior high-definition video surveillance, 24/7 in all areas that either contain marijuana or all entries, all exits, and the parking lot. We are certainly open to giving those to the Holliston PD upon request, should they seek to see them, and other regulatory bodies, for instance, the Cannabis Control Commission, the Department of Public Health. Everything remains operational in the instance of a power outage. So the power goes out in Holliston, this facility is still secure, still safe and sound. Everything's on a backup generator to ensure full security. And I would also notice that the facility, perimeter, the parking lot, everything is well lit. It's intentional so that security cameras can see the facility at all times, exactly what's going on, and they notice if something is out of place. A little discussion about nuisance as well. So not much nuisance emanates from this facility because the members of the public are not allowed within it. So although you are not, absolutely not, and never will be allowed to purchase marijuana at this facility, we don't permit the consumption of marijuana on site or in the immediate neighborhood. And we make sure that that happens due to on-site security and video surveillance. Again, if anything seems amiss, because we have such strong security systems, we're able to assess, I wouldn't say the threat, but assess the condition and respond to it immediately. We've operated without complaints since 2017. And our security protocol also helps us to be a good neighbor. So it helps us to see, is there a disturbance of the peace? Is there any illegal parking? Is there any violations of local or state traffic laws? Is there littering? Is there loitering or other illegal activities? It allows us to be a good neighbor and help secure the general perimeter of the area, the general neighborhood, as well as our particular site. Our facility is discreet. So if you're walking up the street, you probably wouldn't notice it's any different than any other industrial building on the lot. There's minimal signage only for wayfinding, so people aren't circling around trying to find the facility. And absolutely no products are ever visible from the exterior of the facility. If you go around, you won't smell anything, which is a common concern of neighbors. That's because we've installed carbon filtration systems that mitigate the smell, so there's no odor impact. So talking a little bit more about diversion. So making sure that the products that are grown and processed in this facility do not make their way into the hands of people under the age of 21 or medical patients under the age of 18. So again, absolutely no members of the public are ever able to gain access within the facility. You're not, if you knock on the door and say, oh, I'd like a tour, it's not allowed, you can't gain access within. If you're wandering around on the facility, you will be noticed and politely asked to leave. No members of the public are allowed to gain access into this facility. If an employee intentionally or negligently sells marijuana to an individual under the age of 21, they will be terminated. It is very hard for an employee to do this. Mayflower has state-of-the-art seed-to-sale tracking systems, which means that the product is weighed and tracked from the seed all the way until it makes its hands into the consumer. So the ability to divert product is noticed very quickly. There's no variances in that product where it goes, right? And can be tied to the agent. We are only hiring individuals over the age of 21, and we will not hire any individuals who have previously been convicted of distribution of controlled substances to minors. And a little discussion about advertising, marketing, and branding. So it is not our desire to have any products that would automatically appeal to children or anyone under the age of 21. So no fictional or realistic human beings, no cartoon caricatures, no kind of cartoon renderings or a swoosh sign or anything like that that would make you think of a product known to children or honestly known to any consumers. Everything is intended to be discreet and respectful to ensure that it's only used by its intended audience. And most important, our commitment to community. So we have a host community agreement that provides revenue that the town can direct to priorities of its choosing. And I'd like to say that number for jobs is a tad bit low. I believe we've actually hired more than 20 local positions that provide high salaries and comprehensive training. I would say it's very low, looking at the nods from my colleagues over here. In our core ethos, we like to promote sustainable, socially and economically reparative practices through hiring practices, training initiatives, and community investment. We like to be a good neighbor through participation in local civic, business, and philanthropic organizations, as well as a robust community outreach program. And we like to enhance the local economy by primarily using local vendors and contractors. And lastly, I think kind of on that point, so a great opportunity to build is a foundation of service. So Mayflower as an organization is very committed to giving back to communities, especially those that have been disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs. And so we've created the CLONE program, which is the Cannabis Learning Opportunities New England, which offers paid fellowships, art and packaging programs, community gardens, and skill seminars, all of which are intended to enrich local communities, particularly those that have been disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs. In particular, paid fellowships have a focus on cannabis operations, retail management, marketing and branding, business management, and provide students or fellows with one-on-one training lasting the full semester. Sometimes that training leads to employment. We will certainly be a reference, but the goal is to give skills that can be used in the cannabis industry or in the broader business community to help people kind of succeed and kind of a pipeline, if you will, into the cannabis industry for someone who might not have experience or is interested in learning more. Art and packaging programs. This is one of my favorites. In partnerships with local art schools, we are seeking to have students with interest in graphic design or art help to actually design our packaging. Obviously, we are a little, it's wonderful to be creative in packaging to the best extent of your ability, and certainly would like to give local art students the ability to actually showcase a product that they have helped design, right, the packaging for, and put that into their art book, into their portfolio, as something they've done for a business that is actually operating. Community gardens, right, so kind of more to the tune of growing and skills like that. We're seeking to do community gardens in local areas about cultivation skills related to gardening, pesticide-free processes, sustainable practices, working with local farms, and green eating. And then skills seminars around industry-specific and business-geared materials. So holding monthly sessions throughout the Commonwealth to provide guidance about networking, resume writing, accounting, technical writing, regulatory compliance, sometimes very broad job skills, and sometimes more nuanced ones that are specific to the industry. And so our goal is to hold one each month as at the start of our adult use operations. And I just kind of like to recap. So what changes can we expect or see as a result of this proposal? What are the big changes? And my answer, and I hope you kind of see throughout this, is really that there are limited changes that you'll see directly as a result of this proposal. They're maintaining their same footprint in their existing cultivation facility. There will be no expansion to operations, right? So they're not building a new wing. They're maintaining their existing operations. The only thing that changes is the actual label that is put on the plant before it is tracked to leave the facility. If anything, I would say you might get a little more, a couple more jobs out of it, just because they will be hiring. I think they'll continue to be hiring. What other changes can you expect? I think increase revenue to the town of Holliston through the host community agreement. And I think you can expect, a good partner that cares deeply about the community. And it is always helpful to hear the feedback that others provide about potential ways that we can help and make an impact, and also potential. Hey there, how are you? Feel free to just sign in. And also, potential ways that we can alter our programs to make sure that we're respecting the desires and wishes of the community. And I hope you'll know that, I've known John now for, I want to say 4.5, 5 years, and he's always been one who cares more than anything about soliciting feedback from those around him, and I think cares deeply about the community around him. So in the instance that you have a question, that something comes up, he will be the first one to respond, and the team knows that. So field it to him. So he's a CEO, but he's local and he's on the ground, almost kind of like undercover boss, if you will. Well, with that, we will be closing for the evening, but certainly do appreciate the feedback that was provided by this group tonight. If you have additional questions, please feel free to stay after. If you ever have additional questions, John's email is...
You've already given me out.
John's email is john@mayflowermedicinals.com. He's very easy to get to. But we hope to be a good neighbor. We hope to continue to be a good neighbor, I should say. And I really hope that the partnerships we develop, throughout our operations in Holliston are something that the community sees us as a partner. Maybe not always one with an outward face, like we talked about earlier, but certainly someone that really does desire to support the objectives of the community, does desire to create jobs, give back in the ways that we can, and really operate a facility that hopefully you don't know about, hopefully that you don't even think about when in your day-to-day lives, but in doing that, one that I think we can all collectively be kind of proud of. So thank you so much.